Coming up, we're going to talk about Universal Express Pass on this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. I'm your host, Craig Williams, and I'm joined alongside by my co-host, Ryno.
Hello.
Hello to Ryno and everyone. On this week's episode, we are talking about Universal Express Pass and whether or not it is necessary. And it's going to be a very informational episode for sure. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel. If you like our content and you want to support us, please consider booking a vacation through Dreams Unlimited Travel. It costs you no extra money and you get the support of an amazing Dreams Unlimited Travel agent. So head over to dreamsunlimitedtravel.com today for a free, no obligation quote. Okay, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about Universal Express. I sure know it. And hopefully we're going to walk away a lot smarter because of it. It's been a couple years since we've talked about Universal Express. I believe 4 to be exact, or very close to it. And in that episode, too, we also talked about VIP tours and dining plan, which the dining plan is no longer around. So if that's the only episode that you really had to go to for Express information, it's a little bit out of date. And because of that, felt like it was time to refresh the information. A lot of people who are trying out Universal for the first time ever because of the woes now of planning a Disney vacation. And, a lot of people looking into Genie Plus, using that and then say, nope, I don't want any more part of this. Let me go to Universal. So want to make sure you have all the right information on skipping the lines. And we are going to get to that in one more second, too. I'm not going to plug another ad, but I do want to give an update that happened last week after our show ended up going out. And that is that the mask policy at Universal Orlando Resort has changed once again. Before it was that all guests, regardless of vaccination status, had to wear a mask indoors, including the queues of rides and on rides, and that has changed. It is now back to the policy that if you are fully vaccinated, you are not required to wear a mask anywhere. And if you are not vaccinated, then it is strongly recommended that you wear a mask indoors, but you also are not required to. So keep that in mind for your upcoming vacation, that you do not have to wear a mask indoors anymore if you are fully vaccinated. But if you aren't, it is still recommended that you do. And falls in line with, later on down the road, Disney did also match Universal with that. So Walt Disney World is following the same policy. It's just what's happening here in Florida. So a good thing to know about your vacation, just like Universal Express. So this episode, besides knowing that this information was a little out of date for us, it was also prompted by a thread on disboards.com where someone asked, flat out, how necessary are express passes? And it's a question that we get asked a lot, and we've been asked a lot about it over the years on our question and answer episodes. And I feel like, and Ryno, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I feel like we generally say, yeah, they're pretty necessary if it's a busy day, but if it's a slower time of year on a weekday and you're able to be flexible, chances are they're really not that necessary.
Yeah. I think it also depends the breadth of your stay. Are you there for one day trying to do 2 parks, or, do you have 2 days? Do you have 3 days? What are you doing? I think that all factors into it as well.
It absolutely does. And that's what made this thread kind of go pages and pages and pages, because there were a lot of scenarios involved with it and how people plan. If you are coming for a week, do you really need Express every single day if you're just going to be kind of taking it easy, taking it on your own? Probably not. If you're only coming for one night, or one day, I should say, one full day, is Express necessary? Well, yeah, probably, if you really want to get everything done. And then once you start factoring in other situations, by what's the difference between, should I stay at a cheaper hotel, one of the hotels like Cabana Bay or Endless Summer and add Express on, or should I try to go for the upgrade for the premier hotels and then get Express included? There's a lot of scenarios that can go down, and it makes it a very complicated answer to a very easy question. But
I think like you just described a scenario too, where like party size is very important as well. Yes. Because like if you're just you, then it might be cheaper just to do the hotel and the thing. But if you're 4 of you, then maybe it is just, and you're splitting it anyways, maybe you should just go for the upgrade, and then it's one less thing to worry about. It's like what you said. There's like the variable factor situation.
Yep.
But I think an important thing that we didn't touch on yet is also looking at the list of the current attractions that offer Express, because I had somebody recently who told me that Express, and like it didn't work for the 2 attractions they wanted it for, Hagrid's and Velocicoaster. And I'm like, yeah, those are still, I mean, Velocicoaster, I assume, brand new. So I think that's something to factor in there too. Don't think you're coming to do that one thing. Buy it without looking to make sure it works at that one thing,
Yeah. And we are going to go over the current list of what is included in Express as for the attractions as well too in this. But let's start at the beginning for people who just completely are out of the know. What is Universal Express? It is essentially a skip the line system. Skip most of the line. If it's a really busy day, you're definitely skipping the regular line and getting on faster, but still could be a little bit of a wait. Very similar to how in the past, Disney had their Fast Pass system, which then turned into Fast Pass Plus, and now is into Genie Plus and Lightning Lanes. Just, a way to try to get on the ride a little bit quicker. And whereas back in the day, Disney was doing theirs for completely free for all guests, Universal was not. Express was a paid system and has still is a paid system. So it used to receive a lot more flack back in the day for, I can use Fast Pass at Disney and skip the lines, but I have to pay for it at Universal. That's terrible. Well, things have changed quite a bit. And now I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who would say, hey, if I could just pay the same price for Genie Plus and Lightning Lane access as I do for Universal Express, and I'm actually guaranteed to be able to go on each attraction once, I would much rather do that. So It's kind of like it's come full circle that Universal Express, while looked down upon by some over the years, is now like, that's actually not a bad system. It's really not a bad system. And
how those tables have turned.
Yeah. Oh, how the turntables turn.
Turning.
Yeah.
What is that from?
The Office. I believe.
Yeah, okay. I was like, doesn't Michael say that? Yeah, I was like,
yes. One of his many nonsensical statements that he says over the course of the show. But so there are 2
escape
main
room
types.
coming to City Walk 2023. The Office.
Hey,
I'm just going to make up escape rooms and throw them out throughout the episode.
Yeah, okay.
It's a Universal. It's an NBC property. Come on.
It is. I think they're gonna. We didn't talk about that. We talked about that in one failed recording of this show.
Yeah, that's true.
The escape room rumor coming back, not in this one, but just go with us. Chances are, if you've been on social media, you've seen it. If you've been watching or listening to us for 4 years, you remember we did a full episode on escape room ideas back when the permits first came out about Universal looking to develop an escape room. And so, yeah, but just deal with our nonsense as we go through this Express information. And hey, and years down the road, when you're still watching or listening to this one, you're going to be like, well, they got it right. They got it right. That Office escape room. Who would have thunk? But okay.
They'll call it the Electric City.
Scranton.
Sorry, I just derailed. Yeah, I'm just derailing.
Oh, you did. People are going to be like, I just wanted my Express information.
I just want to know about Express, and they won't shut up about Michael Scott's music video.
Exactly. That's what we do on this show. But there's 2 main types of Express, of course. There is Universal Express and Universal Express Unlimited. And the difference is that Universal Express allows you one-time access to attractions with an express line, and Universal Express Unlimited allows you to skip the regular lines as many times as you want. And this is for theme parks specifically, because while Volcano Bay has Express, that is a different form of Express, completely different from this, and we'll go over that as well too. And then you have an event like Halloween Horror Nights, which has a similar structure to Express, but it is also not included with this Express. This is solely right now talking about just for Universal Studios Florida and Islands of Adventure. And as we've already said, Express is a paid feature. It is not included in your park admission. You have to have your separate admission, and you can technically buy a ticket that's a combo ticket that also includes Express. But, besides that combo ticket, you have to have both. You have to have admission and you have to have Express. And a big part of it as well, too, is that the price is fluctuating. So Express can be very cheap on slower parts of the years and slower days, but it can also be very expensive. And with that, you are not buying it as I'll get it now, and then maybe I'll use it on an upcoming vacation. You're buying it for that specific date. So you have to know you are going to use it. Same way with the park tickets to an extent, but Express, you're buying it for the day, not for a general period. So just keep that in mind. Don't assume you're going to go to a park on a random Tuesday and then say, nope, I want to go on that Wednesday, but I already bought the Express for that Tuesday. You need to use it on the day that you bought it for. But you don't have to just buy Express if you're staying at a premier hotel, as we've already mentioned. That includes Lowe's Portofino Bay Hotel, Lowe's Hard Rock Hotel, and Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort. All three of those hotels get Universal
Those
Express.
Hotels.
I'm just getting so excited about these hotels. All three of those resorts get Universal Express Unlimited as part of your stay. And
unlimited. I don't know
Unlimited.
why I thought it was the one use thing, but yeah, unlimited. That's cool. Yeah.
Well, and it's not just unlimited in that way too. It starts the date of your check-in and goes through the day you check out as well too. So that means if you're only staying one night at one of these hotels, but you have 2 park days, you are going to get Express for both of those days. And so that's very important, because if you were going to say like, okay, well, I am going to visit Universal for 2 days and, I want Express for both of those days. Right there, because of the price of Express, it would probably be cheaper to just get a hotel for that one night. I mean, I'll even say, I've seen people in the thread mention it. Some people are even like, I don't even know if I'll use the hotel beyond to get my Express. But it's an option. I would recommend using the hotels. They're beautiful hotels, but if it disrupts your stay, adds to the cost because you have, parking and other fees, and you can't cancel your hotel, then I understand where it becomes an issue. But yeah, if you're a party of 4 and you want to go to the parks for 2 days, it might be cheaper to get that hotel for one night just so you get Express included for your entire family, which it's a wild system.
Yeah, well, my frame of mind with that too is when you do that sort of thing, it's twofold. So we always talk about people that are trying to tiptoe into Universal. They're too devout Disney people, and they haven't been to Universal and so many. I'm always like, that's great to know, because you could literally just be like, well, we added on the one night stay over at Universal, but like what you just said, that gives you 2 opportunities to be able to use this system all the way through, and I think that even. That's a nice little carrot on the end of the stick to be like, come on over, give it a try, and you'll be able to kind of do so many things. And then the way I frame it in my head is that I'm like, how much is the price of a stay of a resort, like without Express, without any of that stuff? And maybe you're an annual pass holder, maybe you come down all the time, I don't know, or you're one of the top tier, the annual pass holder that has the Express after 4, so you're like, well, I already get it with a pass, so it's not something that factors in. But if you're just somebody who's coming, just just going to buy regular tickets, I think about that as being like, okay, well, now my hotel is discounted, $400 or something like that. Yeah. And you're like, okay, so the stays really might end up being like $50, and that mentality of, wrapping it around where you're like, well, I was already spending the money anyways,
Yep. I completely agree with you. I never really think about it like that, but that's a very valid point that you really start chipping away at the cost of the hotel in the long run. But you also mentioned something in your soliloquy there that we didn't bring up yet, but is important too. For Premier annual pass holders, you get express after 4 p.m. That doesn't really help out extremely a lot on a date where the parks are closing at 6 o'clock, but perfect in like the summer months when the parks are open later. And let's be honest, even in like 2 hours, you can get a lot done at the parks using Express Pass. So it's good. But for the Premier Pass holders, that is one-time use Express. So like the normal one. So you can't say, oh, I want to use my Express 900 times over and over again at Men in Black after 4 o'clock. That's not how it works. But
Craig, this is a weird question. During like Halloween Horror Nights, because I know that's a separate ticketed event. Mm-hmm. Is there the express that you get for the houses? Does that work at the attractions? Could we use our annual pass since it's after 4, or no, because it's a separate ticketed event?
No,
so it's
it is included in Express if you buy Express for Halloween Horror Nights. But once Halloween Horror Nights begins, your pass is not good. So
gotcha.
Your pass
that makes
your
sense.
pass gets you in the park like up till whenever time it closes, 5 o'clock. Yeah. After that, your path is worthless unless you have Halloween Horror Nights admission. Exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha. So okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that is important to know too. If you're going to Halloween Horror Nights and you're like, I only care about doing a couple of the houses, I also want to do a lot of attractions. If you bought Express for HHN, you can use it with the attractions as well too, instead of, maybe adding on Express to your daytime park ticket if you were visiting the parks earlier in the day. But it all depends. And with that too, with that Halloween Horror Nights Express, again, it is different the same way as Volcano Bay is. If you stay at a Premier hotel, you automatically do not get free Express at Volcano Bay or Halloween Horror Nights. It is completely separate. And the same thing goes for annual pass holders. Those are both separate. You would have to add it on. So just making sure that is well. Yeah. No. I'm sorry it got so confusing there with it, but you know what? If we can make it confusing, that means there's people out there who can be confused about it on their own too. So good to go over this. And one final thing to really go over before we get into a lot of pricing and attractions is that Express can sell out. So it's not guaranteed. Repeat, it is not guaranteed. Just as an example, this weekend is President's Day weekend that we're recording this. And for like Express Pass for Universal Studios Florida in particular, it's completely unavailable the entire weekend through Monday. Whereas for like Islands of Adventure, you can get like the Friday date, but you can't get any of the rest of the weekend, including Monday. So it can and will sell out on busy times because people want to have it when it is this ridiculously insane. And when it starts selling out, that's when the prices for the dates around it are also going to skyrocket too. Like, people always come in vacation at different times for different reasons. So you never know where the pricing really is going to end up sometimes, just looking at the calendar as a base. But I mean, like on February 23rd, Express Pass, the one-time use Express Pass at Universal Studios Florida is a whopping $249.99 per person plus tax. So, and that's days after President's Day. Most people you'd think would be going home, but it's all crazy.
Wait.
It's crazy how the pricing works, but we're not going to get into that too much yet.
Wait, repeat that price though. Sorry,
$249.
That's what I thought I heard you say, and I just was making sure it wasn't. I heard an insane thing. Okay. Can you, I mean, I can do it, I guess, on my computer. I'm just curious, what day was that? Did you say it was a Wednesday?
That is the Wednesday after President's Day. So 2 days after President's Day on Wednesday, February 23rd, the current price for Universal Studios Florida One Park Express is $249.99 per person plus tax, and that means that does not include your admission. So if you have a family of 4, because Express is all ages, It's all
I wa-
ages.
I
A
want to
family
see
of
how much,
four would be $1,000 for express for one
Yeah,
day for one park.
I want to see how much the check-in. Let's do a hotel stay for that week. I want to see how much the price is, because that is an insane. I'm going to do a check-in on the Tuesday, check out on a Thursday.
Keep in mind there will probably be absolutely no availability, considering that is just days away from now, and the parks and hotels are very busy. But if there's something open, I would like to. What? Okay.
Okay. Ready? Book now. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me go through. Okay. I just checked randomly. Lowe's was the first one. Lowe's. The Royal Pacific was the first one that came up. Okay. So for checking in on the 22nd, and I believe checking out on the Thursday, it's the 22nd and the 23rd. It's a 2-night stay. It's $564 each night. So after the occupancy tax, the state tax, it comes out to a total, it says, of $1,269. Okay, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So if you are literally just one person, you can take $500 off of that hotel room, which is one night. So if you're one person staying in that hotel, and you were going to do express, you just got one night of your hotel for free.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to confuse people with this, because we're jumping over each other with it. And again, we haven't even gotten into the pricing portion of this, but the example that we gave, which, maybe I'll cut some stuff out before so we don't confuse as many people with it. But we are giving the example that on February 23rd, checking out on February 24th, that if you want to stay at Royal Pacific, you can get a room currently at Royal Pacific for a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children for
$634.50.
Okay. And with that, you get 2 park unlimited express pass for
2 days.
For 2 days. You get it for the 23rd and the 24th. And just running the numbers on those 2 days, if you were to buy it separately, if you didn't want to stay at the hotel, you had your park admission, and you're saying, hey, I want to throw on 2 park unlimited express passes. Just for that, it is nearly $2,300. That is pre-tax for that same family of 4 for the 2 days. Granted, you might say, okay, I only want it for 1 day. Still cut the price in half. And you're still there. It's still over. Almost
it's still
11
twice the amount of money for the hotel stay. Because the hotel stay would be like $1,200, and you're talking about like right under $1,100 for the 1 day for the express.
Yeah. So hopefully this all cuts together real seamlessly and not too confusing for my sake, because wow, we struggled going through this, but I think we sold the point of getting a premier hotel if the price is right for you. What a great
deal. You're walking distance from the theme parks at that point. It's one of those things where I'm like, if this sort of thing existed at, like, I don't know, Disneyland or at Universal Hollywood, it would be one of those things where I feel like we'd be there a lot more often than we are. Because I'd be like, heck yeah, let's go right now. Because I'd be like, that's the deal. We could go during this busy time, but and that's the turnoff. Sometimes you're like, well, I don't want to go because it's going to be too busy because we're right around spring break and things like that. Well, that doesn't matter because we'd have express. So it's like, let's just get in and go, and we've got a beautiful hotel stay.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's go over the list of what is available as part of Universal Express. Keep in mind, this is the current list as of 2022, and I'm going to include an attraction that's not open currently, but will probably still be open by the time people are still watching this in the future. But at Universal Studios Florida, you have the Born Stuntacular animal actors on location. One that Ryno absolutely loves, I know that much. Despicable Me, Minion Mayhem, E.T. Adventure, Fast and Furious Supercharged, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, Hogwarts Express, but you need park-to-park admission for that. Just keep that in mind. Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, Kang and Kodos' Twirl and Hurl, Men in Black Alien Attack, Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon, Revenge of the Mummy, The Simpsons Ride, Transformers The Ride 3D, Universal Orlando's Horror Makeup Show, and Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster. So literally everything at this park you are able to use Express for. Everything that you would possibly want to use it for, and more in that way. But over at Islands of Adventure, of course, that's a little bit different scenario. We have The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, Carousel, The Cat in the Hat, Doctor Doom's Fearfall, Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw-Falls, Flight of the Hippogriff, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, The High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train Ride, Hogwarts Express, again, you'll need that park-to-park admission, The Incredible Hulk Coaster, Jurassic Park River Adventure, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, Popeye and Bluto's Build Trap Barges, Poseidon's Fury, if it ever reopens, Gull Island, Reign of Kong, and Storm Force Accelatron. So, of course, that means no Velocicoaster, as we mentioned. As of the time being, no Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. But, one day in the future, I'm sure they will be a part of Universal Express. There were so many years where we're like, Forbidden Journey, Gringotts never going to be a part of it. And then, you know what? As new stuff opened up, then they're able to add in those attractions that are a little bit older. So all you need is patience. That is the magical word in this, patience. Patience. But good list. Don't you say, Ryno?
Oh, yeah. A lot, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, you can really get your I don't know money's worth because it's fluctuating value, but it seems like if you're going in, you get to go all in. It's not piecemeal. You don't have to buy it and then pay individually for the really popular ones.
Yeah. Gosh, Ryno, I really wish you wouldn't have brought up pricing again, because now we finally have to go through pricing, but in a non-confusing way. Again, I probably cut out a lot of information that we were giving on the pricing already, so hopefully it made sense as you're listening. But we're going to go through the pricing for Express Unlimited, 2-Park Unlimited, all of that. So let's start with Express-based pricing. And Express, that 1-Park Universal Express Pass, will start at $79.99 per person plus tax. And for the 1-Park Universal Express Unlimited, it will start at $109.99 per person plus tax. So those are the starting points. But as we've already alluded to, that doesn't mean that's what you're going to get it for. So again, on that February 23rd, for the 1-Park Universal Express Pass, where you can use that attraction, you can use it once at each attraction that has Express. It's currently $249.99 per person. Once you get into March, it gets a little bit better on some days. Like there are some days you can get it for as low as $109.99 per person plus tax, but you can also see it like over the busiest times, like on the Tuesday, March 15th, it's $229.99 for Express on that day. So then again, fluctuations happen. Once you get into April, then you're finally able to find towards the end of April that $79.99 per person plus tax right around that last week of April, the 25th through at least April 28th. And for Express Unlimited, it basically follows the same sort of fluctuations, just a little bit more expensive because it's unlimited Express versus just one-time use at each attraction. And this, again, is for just one park. Like that one on the 23rd of February, $279.99. For the example that I gave in March 15th, it's $259.99, with the lowest price coming in around $139.99. And then that last week of April, that's where we're seeing our base pricing from the 25th through the 28th at $109.99. To bore you even more, now we're going to go over 2-Park Universal Express. So this is not 2-Park Unlimited, just 2-Park Base, where you can use it at both parks once each attraction. And the base for this starts at $89.99 per person. On that February 23rd date, it's coming in at $259.99 per person plus tax. In that March 15th date, it is $239.99 plus tax, with that slowest point being right around $119.99 in March. And then those base prices we're seeing all the way at the end of April, again from the 25th through the 29th or 28th, sorry, I apologize, $89.99. So it's possible to find the base, but then once you throw in the Express Unlimited version of that for 2 parks, the base for this goes to $119.99. And on that February 23rd date, we're going to see it at $289.99. On the March 15th date, we're seeing it at $269.99, with the lowest price in March being $149.99. And then in April, that last week, the 25th to the 28th, again, seeing the base price of $119.99. And that is your pricing. I know that was a lot of information. You're going to forget it, but just an example of how things do fluctuate in terms of pricing, just based randomly on these dates. And you never know how much it's going to cost until you actually look at their calendars and go to buy it. Then you can see what the price will be for the day that you're there. And it's straightforward once you move on from that, but you don't know until you actually look. But I'm going to move us into Volcano Bay, and then we're going to call it a day on that. And Volcano Bay, again, one more time with it. This is completely separate from your express that you have for the 2 theme parks. You have to buy this as a separate entity. It's not included in your hotels. And it's a little bit different in that Volcano Bay has their Express Pass, which is good for once per ride on select rides. And then it has their Express Pass Plus, which is good for all rides once per ride. So they don't have an unlimited version for Volcano Bay, just a once per ride, but there's one level that has it for select attractions and one that has it for all, which that makes it very confusing and complicated, but I'm sure they developed it because guest feedback, I don't know, just what made the most sense for them. But let's go over what attractions are included in this. You have, I'm going to do my best to read it off, but the names are not always the easiest here. But in the select ones, the base Express Pass at Volcano Bay, you have Honu of Honu Ika Moana. You have Ika Moana of Honu Ika Moana. You have the Krakatoa Aqua Coaster, Maku of Maku Pui Round Raft Rides, Pui of Maku Pui Round Raft Rides, Punga Racers, and Taniwa Tubes. And then if you want to, Ryno, let me get through it first. Let me get through it. Yeah, I'm begging you. I just want to get through these names and move on from it forever. And then if you get the Express Pass Plus, you also get the Kala and Tanui Serpentine Body Slides, the Koakiri Body Plunge, in the Ono of Oya and Ono Drop Slides, in the Oya of Oya and Ono Drop Slides. So you get, into the volcano slides, the ones where you're going up high, you get that included with the Express Pass Plus. So I guess it would, maybe they kind of break it down as like the base version is for, the most accessible attractions, the most accessible slides at Volcano Bay. And then the true thrill seekers want the Express Pass Plus. I kind of feel like that's how it's broken down if I'm trying to make sense of it now in my head, but let's go over the pricing with it. The Express Pass for the select rides, once per ride, again, base price is $19.99, and it's a little bit colder right now. So, most of the pricing for February is still $19.99 over the weekend, like the holiday weekend, jumping up to $49.99. But it's also hot right now too, so that makes sense. And that's kind of creeping up into the higher prices once you get in the end of February. Once you get into March, things really jump up with select days in March going for $79.99, $89.99, so getting a little expensive. And then once you jump into April, that's when things get even more expensive, than going into $99 range and $89.99 all in there. So it can get very expensive for those select rides. And it gets even more expensive for the Express Pass Plus that includes all those rides once per ride, because the base for it is $39.99. But like in February, days with $39.99, but then also a lot of $49.99s, $79.99s, going into April, jumping up to $89.99, with the high price being $129.99 towards the end of March. I think I just said April and I meant March. But then going into April, a lot of $119.99s, 1 day, 2 days for 3 days for $129.99. So, I guess you're going to get all the slides done a lot quicker without having to deal with Volcano Bay and virtual lines and all that. But yeah, it can get very pricey very quick for Volcano Bay. And I'll be honest, I haven't used ExpressPass for Volcano Bay, so I can't really attest to it as much. I really do need to make an effort to do that one day and use Express and really learn it with that park. But it's an option for you if you have the money. I mean, I guess why not? But if it's a slow day and you're not really having to wait for anything, yeah, that would be a bummer to have Express when you don't really need it. But that goes with the same Express with the parks. It's a bummer if you buy it and you pay a lot of money for it, and then you find out that all the attractions are like 20 minutes or less. Well,
the other thing, there's other factors in Volcano Bay as well, too, because then it's like, oh, well, if it's a slow day, maybe put that money toward a cabana or something like that. There's a couple more other things that aren't factors in like the regular theme park, I guess, So, but yeah, I mean, it's not an inexpensive service.
No, not at all. And as we have kind of showcased with this Express, the premise is very straightforward in terms of you use Express based on what level you get to skip the line or skip most of the line on one attraction or all attractions once, or if you have Express Unlimited. Yeah. It got me. This is getting to me. The heat and then just the mundaneness of this information is getting to me. But or if you have the Express Unlimited, you can use it as many times at all the attractions with Express. So that's straightforward, super easy. But in terms of if it's worth it for you and your family or not, or if you're just traveling alone, is it worth it for you? That's a complete different case. And I strongly urge you to look at the prices of the hotels with it. If you want to work with a Dreams Unlimited travel agent or a travel agent in general and kind of figure out if it's good for you, I know at least our Dreams Unlimited travel agents are always happy to help with it. You can always use DIS boards too and ask for advice, just like this person did. If you can be very specific about the dates you're looking for and, what your game plan is, there are always people who would jump in and say, I'm finding this on that date. So, maybe think about this or that. It can be a very valuable resource. And of course, you can always reach out to us and ask us questions, leave comments on YouTube or reach out to us on social and we can try to give you some advice along the way. But it's can be confusing, but once you're using it, it cannot be any more easy, and it really can help you save a lot of time in the park. So, Ryno, I have nothing else to say about it. I don't know if you have any final thoughts.
I'm just going to hop on what you were saying about how it's pretty straightforward and it's pretty simple. So, like once you've purchased it and you've bought into it, you just go and use it. You don't have to schedule times. You don't have to figure out like when or where, or you just start going. So you could go and use it, boom, 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 and be done, or you could take your time with it. It's kind of up to you. You're not at the mercy of scheduling or anything like that once you have it.
Absolutely, a great point that it is flexible and it works with you and your plans, and you don't have to worry about running back to an attraction to use it. If we're late for lunch, but we got to go and get out of here. Don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Very, very flexible and an asset and a tool for your vacation versus, maybe I don't want to say a burden against your vacation, but because that seems really unfair to the other side. But that's how a lot of people are feeling right now, that it is
streamlined. It's streamlined and so it's efficient. I feel it's a little more. It's not overly complicated. Yes, it is a lot more expensive than the other system we are vaguely referring to here, but it's just simple. It feels like one of those things. They've always done it, so we've accepted it. We're past that point of being like, oh, there's this whole other thing you have to pay for. But in terms, if you are paying for it, I feel like you just go and you use it, and that's it. It's that simple.
Agree. So we hope you found this helpful. We hope that, we didn't confuse you too much on this. And, if this was just a refresher episode for you and you were hoping for more hilarious moments, I apologize. We didn't really have them for you. We never got back to any office escape room ideas or anything like that. But maybe next week's episode. We'll have to just wait and see, because that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. Thank you, everyone out there, for listening and watching. Ryno, thank you for having this really mundane conversation with me. I truly hope that people got something out of this out there. And if you did and you said, hey, this was great, I want to support you more, you can start by, if you're watching this on YouTube, hitting the thumbs up, subscribing to the channel, and leaving comments, questions, and video suggestions in the comments section. And if you're listening to this, make sure you subscribe to wherever you listen to podcasts. And if it's through Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That's a great way to show your support. And then also, help other people find the show who maybe are looking for that Universal Orlando information. And if you want to support us even more, you can always book a trip through Dreams Unlimited Travel. Get a free no obligation quote today at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. But that's going to do it for us today and this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. I've burnt my brain out, so I'm just going to thank you, Ryno, one more time for this fun conversation.
I'm just realizing when we broke down the prices and started about the hotel, I should have done it like that one. I think she's a senator or a congresswoman or somebody. The one lady in California who pulls out the dry erase board and she breaks it on down. Next time we'll try and do that for a visual and for our own safety, because for our listeners out there, it would keep the information a little more streamlined.
If we are still doing this in 4 years, I will make sure that I hold you to that. But that's going to do it for this week's episode of the DIS Unplugged Universal Edition. We'll see you again soon with another episode. But remember, we still haven't changed the name.